The year is 2003. The Department of Homeland Security was just created. Photographer Kenneth Adelman takes a bunch of photos of the California coastline, of like houses on the California coastline. It's part of the California Coastal Records Project, which records the California Coastal Project. It's meant to document coastal erosion. He takes a ton of photos, but there's one image in particular, image 3850. And for that image, he was sued. Dun, 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 dun. Adelman was sued by Barbra Streisand, like the actress and singer, I guess. But so she sued him and the website that it was on, Pictopia.com. Prior to the lawsuit, the image had six downloads. 2 were from Barbra Streisand's lawyers. Prior to the lawsuit, that was it. Only 6. And then the 2. Eventually, as the lawsuit went on, it was dismissed. And the judge ordered that Streisand had to pay all of Adelman's like court fees and whatever and all the money. But more importantly, because of the lawsuit and because of all the attention it drew, the image over the first month of the lawsuit was downloaded by people 420,000 times. So like 6 to like this 42,000 times. That 10, 42, so 420,000. It's a bit of a number discrepancy there. So what is the ethics of covering up information? Because like most people, and then eventually Streisand herself, said that attempt to cover up and hide the photo wasn't the coolest. Now, Streisand at the time, she did say that it was for security concerns, which is fair, because like she's an actress and a singer and is famous. They have security concerns from like stalkers. But maybe the way she went about it was weird because like she brought more attention to it. But what if the image was posted and that what she didn't bring more attention to it, but it was already known that it was her house? Would that be justified then? Maybe. What if instead of her house, it was war crimes committed in Vietnam? Would that be justified? The exposing of this kind of scandalous information is whistleblowing. Whistleblowing, the exposition of scandalous information. In the corporate and political arenas, whistleblowers are insiders who make public misbehavior that has been In the corporate and political arenas, whistleblowers are insiders who make public misbehavior that has been institutionally condoned. So there is some overlap here with like leaking, which is like the publicizing of internal behavior or decisions to the public, positive or negative. You know how like, oh, the Dune 2 got leaked on Twitter and the whole video was there. Or like, oh, did you see that they're gonna put the Wolverine dog in the new Marvel movie? He's like a dog that in addition to his normal like fingernails, he also has claws. It's the Wolverine dog. Did you see they're going to put that in? So like leaking, we know it. It's a lot more prevalent because of the internet, because it used to be like some guy would find out about Wolverine dog and then what is he going to do? Post a newsletter about it? I mean, he could. But like now it's like there is the Twitter group for Marvel movies or for Star Wars or whatever that like they can post it to. So the internet has made this kind of leaking a lot more easily accessible. But is it ethical to leak it? What is the morals to it, you know? And like, if something is leaked, presumably an organization wouldn't want it leaked. How should they respond to it? You know? Like, what's up? Fuck. Inherently, when it comes to the decision-making behind whistleblowing or leaking, it's subjective, obviously. So in a lot of historical instances in history, whistleblowers determined that loyalty to the public and their own beliefs were stronger than any loyalty owed to their employers. I don't know why I said it like that. According to one view in traditional theories about whistleblowing, employee loyalty dictates that employees have an inherent responsibility to protect employers from going public with damaging information. Since the general public, as well as national and state governments, have a major take in ensuring that business do not engage in unethical and illegal behavior, whistleblowers have come to be viewed as important actors in ongoing efforts to uncover business misconduct. I need my Gatorade. While it is generally agreed that whistleblowing is damaging to employers' reputation and opens businesses up to criminal charges for illegal behavior, some researchers believe that whistleblowing is a necessary component of business ethics. They point out that effective internal whistleblowing systems may encourage loyalty and prevent employees from going public with reports of misdeeds. The bottom line, according to some research, is that employers who consistently treat their employees fairly are more likely to create an environment in which employees feel comfortable in reporting perceived wrongdoings internally rather than reporting it to outside sources. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right, but hop back in the time machine. We're going back in time. All right, it's 2005. I was just born. Probably so were many of you. There is some situation going on where there was a hotel and a photo of a urinal in the hotel was posted to this website that compiled nasty toilets. And so then the owners of the hotel sued the website to get the image taken down, which 100% just brought more attention to that this is a nasty urinal in this hotel. Anyway, yeah. Journalist Mike Masnick wrote, "How long is it going to take before lawyers realize that the simple act of trying to repress something they don't like online is likely to make it so that something that most people would never ever see is now seen by many more people? Let's call it the Streisand Effect." So in the BBC's definition of it, they said, the Streisand Effect is an online phenomenon in which an attempt to hide or remove information, a photo, video, story, etc., results in the greater spread of the information in question. This does exist in real life too. It is kind of side note, it is kind of a bummer, Barbra Streisand, not only was the fact that she Streisand affected herself proof to the effect, because it was that, it became so publicized and everything, but also the fact that, her situation is now forever remembered as, anytime you think of the Streisand Effect, it directs back to her. That's just salt in the wound, man. But the Streisand Effect exists in real life too. The year is 1971. Bed Bath & Beyond is created. There's David Ellsberg. He works at this company called the Rand Corporation. Amazing name, I know. He knows. That company is doing some stuff with the US government. Whatever. This is also less important than Bed Bath & Beyond. We're still in the Vietnam War. Anyway, but Bed Bath & Beyond was created. At the Rand Corporation, David here, he gets his little grippers on these copies of an internal government study done about how much the U.S. government was involved in military and politically in Vietnam. So he gets his little grippers on these copies of studies, and he takes them for a whirl. And so he brings them to the New York Times, and he's like, "Hey, knock knock, New York Times, you want these?" And New York Times is like, "Hell yeah." And so they start to publicize them. And then the US government goes to the New York Times and they're like, "You can't publicize that." So the New York Times files a lawsuit. And then David is like, "Well, shit, I still want to post these." So he goes to the Washington Post and he says, "Knock, knock, Washington Post, you want to post these?" And the Washington Post is like, "Hell yeah, we want to post them." So the Washington Post starts posting them. And so they do. And then the US government comes in and says, "Hey, you got to stop." So the Washington Post files a lawsuit. But so the New York Times and the Washington Post, they're still filing the lawsuits because it's like, "Hey, you can't stop us from posting this. We were going to post it. How do you know what we're going to say?" Because the government's like, "Well, it would be bad for us." But it's like, you don't know what we're going to say, so what do you know? Anyway, there's two lawsuits. They get combined into one lawsuit. And it's the New York Times Co. v. United States. And so it goes to the Supreme Court. And this is all super fast. It happens over the span of 2 weeks. For once, U.S. politics is going quickly. And so the Supreme Court rules and they say, hey, Nixon admin, you can't be doing this. Come on, guys. Like, what is this? I think it's called prior restraint. Is that the term? Something like that. You can't be doing that. You know, guys, come on. You can't be doing that. Anyway, so they're like, all right, New York Times, Washington Post, y'all are good. You can keep going with it. But by this point, like, everyone already knows. These are the Pentagon Papers. Everyone knows about it. So it's like, at this point, now the Supreme Court case, all it did was say, hey, government, you're kind of dumb. You can't be stopping this. And also, during the court case, there was a lot of stuff that came out where it was like the government officials were trying to say, you can't say this. You can't say this. Ooh, you can't say this. But actually, they had been publicly saying it for like a while already. So it was like, you guys, what's up? All right. The year was 2023. It's December 2023. Rockstar, they're a video game company. They say, hey, you know how we sold this game that like was one of the highest selling games of all time called Grand Theft Auto 5? You know how we did that? Okay. You know how we've been waiting on the sequel to that for like 13 years? Okay. We're gonna give you the trailer. We're gonna do it on December 5th. The 5th. We're gonna do it. Promise. We promise, dude. Handshake. We're gonna do it, okay? And so the internet's like, hell yeah. The day is then December 4th. The trailer for GTA 6 gets posted by someone, and it's like really low quality. Okay, so what does Rockstar do? Well, they could be like lawsuit, takedown, but it was already circulating. People had already seen it. So instead, they say, all right, our trailer got leaked. We'll just post it ourselves. And so they do. They post it a day early, and they have the full quality version, and they post it. And everyone's like, hell yeah, video game. The video goes on to become the most viewed non-music video of all time on YouTube, or within a 24-hour period. Like, crushing all the records, going past Mr. Beast, going past Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, like cruising through it all. Oh, wow. And so it does well, which is cool. Okay, so like now what though? Like, what did that mean though? Well, I mean, if you're an organization, don't do bad things because it'll get leaked, you know? Like, treat your employees nicely, because then they won't have anything to leak about you. But if you're not going to do that, if something gets leaked, covering it up, bad idea. Don't do it. Don't. Doing anything to try to cover it up, just bad. Don't. This is someone talking about the Logan Paul like crypto scam that he did like a year ago.
Should Logan have done? What should Logan have done? You want Stanzy's PR? Here's what Logan Paul, one of the most famous influencers on the planet, should have done. Ignored it! Just ignore it! Who gives a shit? You're like the most famous person. No one cares. You're a scammer. Just ignore it, man. Why are we doing this? You're making this so much harder. I mean, obviously there were many things you could have done beforehand to try and get ahead of this, namely not doing a crypto pump and dump. But you've already done the crypto pump and dump. No one cares about crypto. It's last year's news cycle. It's so boring. People truly don't care that you scammed. But now we're just talking about it more and more and more and more.
But yeah, just don't. If you're gonna do bad stuff, when it gets leaked, don't try to cover it up, because then people will notice that you're trying to cover it up. But if it's something good that gets leaked, then you just kind of want to ride with it, you know? You want to cruise along. If people are hyped about it, rather than being like, no, don't be hyped about it. Wait till we say you can be hyped about it. Just be hyped with them. Don't mess with the vibes. Don't mess with a cool thing. Don't mess with a good thing, you know? If it's something good embrace it. If it's something bad, ignore it.